I'm really excited to show you guys today's podcast. Today we talked to Walden Wong, professional inker and artist, known for DC, Marvel, Darkhorse even.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. Thanks for being here. Really.
Yeah, I hear podcasts are the next big thing. I mean, it's bigger than YouTube these days, I hear.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that myself too.
You honestly should. I feel like a lot of people would hear what you have to say. I checked out your YouTube channel, and I was really surprised at how awesome your art and stuff is.
I'm trying to work YouTube like a podcast where people can listen. I just don't know what people are using to make podcasts. I just haven't delved into that yet. Because I can talk, like one of my recent videos, I don't know if you've seen it, the 3.5 hour video.
I did.
I was basically talking to myself for 3.5 hours.
I mean, I gotta give you credit. You went a lot further than I would have. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't even think I can talk to myself for 3 hours and I can carry on a pretty good conversation.
Yeah.
We use Anchor and stuff for ours. I mean that.
Anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear someone uses StreamYard. I don't know if that's a podcast thing.
StreamYard. I'd have to look that up. I haven't heard of that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a picture of a duck as a logo. That's StreamYard. I don't really know all these. Yeah, this is like my third podcast interview I've done, and everyone wants to do more podcasts than like video YouTube stuff.
I'm actually really intrigued. I looked up some of your work, and you've worked on quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been this year will be my let's see, 1996 was my first comic book, so it'll be I think 25 years this year.
Oh,
wow. In comics, consistently working in comics.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been doing comics for quite some time.
What got you into comics?
I've always collected comics as a kid, ever since I was going to middle school when I first discovered comics. And then when I started going to a comic book store, there was this guy that worked in the comic book store that works for Marvel Comics. He actually drew for Marvel Comics. And then I asked him, like, because at the time when I was buying comics, I didn't really know you can get a job as a comic book artist. You can really, like, it can be like a job. And then he would be in his comic book store, he would put pages into this FedEx box and he would just ship it out in FedEx, or FedEx would drop him stuff. And then every so often he would come out of his little room with some artwork. And I thought it was just like another high school student, like myself. And then we're just drawing, but I didn't know that he was drawing stuff for the publishers at the time. With that, I asked him, like, how do I get into comics? And he would give me photocopies of his pencils, and I would ink over his stuff. So I would ink in it, and I would go back every week. I would have comic book day, like comic book Wednesdays. I would give him my samples. He would look at it, and he would give me more photocopies of his stuff. And I would learn how to ink that way. Originally, in the beginning, I wanted to be a penciler. So I always wanted to be a penciler going in there. But he told me, how about going into inking, where you're inking other stuff? Get your feet in the door first as an inker, and then work your way to become a penciler. But once I started inking, I just started getting a lot of work. Marvel Comics, DC Comics. There was one point I was working for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Darkhorse at the same time, all three publishers at the same time. And this was at the beginning of my career where I was just getting a lot of work. And it just started snowballing, and it was just inking, and a lot of inking all the way. It's just, since I'm inking and I'm working with all these talented pencilers, it's kind of nice because I'm also learning how they're drawing. And then I get to see their art style, the pencils, the original art. I get to see the originals. And it was such, being a comic book fan, it was pretty amazing. Like, wow, I'm holding Ed McGuinness's artwork in front of me. I'm holding Arthur Adams' artwork in front of me. It's Paul Smith's art. Yeah, it was just so amazing.
I was just gonna say, I love Arthur Adams' work. I love the Long Shot series.
He's the guy who worked at the comic book store.
That's really?
Yeah, it was his comic book shop, and then I would buy comic books at his store every week. So he would ring me up, and he would draw on FedEx boxes. I saw his. You ever heard of Monkey Man and O'Brien? One of his creator own characters.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. When Image Comics started, that Image Revolution, there was like Wildcats and Spawn and all that stuff. The Image creators tried to recruit Arthur Adams as well as Mike Mignola, Frank Miller, Dave Gibbons to join the Image line. And instead of joining that line, they went to Darkhorse and decided to create a new line called Legends. And that's when they created Sin City and Next Men and Monkey Man O'Brien and Hellboy. Hellboy's part of it. Yeah, Mike Mignola also used to live in the Bay Area, and every new comic book day at Arthur Adams store, Mike Mignola would be at the same store, and I would see him every week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, him and his wife, Christine, they would just go to the comic book store, and then we would just talk. Saw them as regular people.
That's crazy because up here it's like they're legends in the comic book industry up here, and you're just like, oh yeah, they're just friends.
Yeah, I've seen the first appearance of Hellboy before it was even made into comic book. He author created Monkey Man O'Brien, and Mike Mignola created Hellboy, and then they had a little signing in front of the store, and they made these prints. I don't know how many print runs. It was the first print of Hellboy and first prints of author, and they even gave me the prints of it, and they even wrote something on the print. Mike Mignola wrote, "Hi Walden, one day I will kill you." On the print. That was the first time, because when I first met Mike Mignola, he was working on Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, cool.
The Dracula comic book for Topps Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen his work before, but I didn't really pay attention to artists at the time. So when I was buying comic books, I didn't really pay attention to who the writer was, who the penciler was. So like when I saw Arthur, he was just like a guy. I didn't think that he would work in comics. He was like the first real comic book artist person that I knew created comic books. And that's how I approach asking him how I would get into comics. This was a long time ago, very long time ago.
Wow.
Maybe 30 years ago, I would say. Yeah, I was buying comics from him and the store owner that he had part with for a good many years before I actually got work as a comic book artist.
Oh man, that is great. This
is around 1990, 1992, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's before I started working in comics.
That's so cool. I mean, I'm freaking out over here.
Yeah, especially when I found. See, I had Long Shot, the miniseries, and I had a lot of Arthur Adams comic books, but I didn't place the name with the artist. And then when I found out that, oh, you're Arthur Adams, you drew this, I started getting him to sign everything that I had. Like Long Shot was one of the graphic novels I had. I never actually bought the miniseries because I wasn't really collecting comic books at the time. I just started buying stuff, and every week I would just have him sign stuff, and then he would just sign it. He's a very nice person.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so when he contacted me after I started working for Marvel for a good many years, he contacted me once and said, "Walden, are you on an exclusive contract?" And I said, "No, I'm not on an exclusive." He goes, "Do you have time to ink me on a few issues of the Incredible Hulk?" So that was full circle. Not only was I able to learn from him, I was able to work with him professionally as an artist while I was inking over his pencils. That was very nice. And it was fun too. I remember I would go over to his house. I would pick up artwork. He'd go over to my house, or we would meet up for lunch almost every week just to swap pages and then talk about the inks and talk about the pencils. It was a nice time. He used to live in San Francisco. He moved over to Walnut Creek now, so we don't really see each other. But I think he still buys comic books at San Francisco at a comic book store called Amazing Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one time I went to a comic book store with him. He was carrying this big, huge duffel bag. It's almost like those army bags what they carry in their back.
What's in that bag, man?
No, it was an empty bag. He was carrying his empty bag. He didn't weigh anything. And we went to a comic book store together. And I said, "Why are you carrying an empty bag?" "Oh, I need to pick up my month's worth of comics." So I think he buys a lot of comics.
Oh yeah, I'd say. I mean, if you're bringing a duffel bag there, I mean, you're either transferring money or you're buying a crap ton of comics.
Yeah.
Sure.
He collects a lot of comics. He keeps up with a lot of artists in the industry.
Oh, that's so cool. What was your favorite? One of your favorite books to work on?
I think right now I remember working on Superman Red Sun. I don't know if you heard of that book.
I've heard of Superman Red Sun.
Mark Miller wrote it, and it was penciled by Dave Johnson and Killian Plunkett. Those were both the artists. When I was signed on to work on the project, nobody wanted to work on a project anymore. I think that's why Dave Johnson left, and then Killian took over. And then the editor who I was working with, Tom Palmer at the time, he was, I believe, the third editor on the series, and nobody just didn't care about it. I remember I was being so excited to work on it, not only because I was thinking over Dave Johnson and Killian, but because it was like a Superman. Instead of landing on in America, he landed in Russia. He had the sickle and the hammer on his chest. And I was all excited. I would talk to the editor. This is so awesome. I can't wait to see the next page. And the editor would respond back, I don't know why you're so excited. We hate this book. We want it done. It went through 3 editors, went to 2 pencilers, and within 5 years, it went onto my lap. There was another inker, Andrew Robinson. He was inking, and then he just didn't want to do it anymore. Dave Johnson didn't want to do it. Killian took over and finished it. And then there was a lot of edits. And then when it was done, like, oh, it's all done. It's a 3-issue prestige format. And then now it's one of the most popular books that DC Comics is doing, second to Watchmen.
Yeah, no kidding.
It gets reprinted a lot. It gets translated into a different like language and printed overseas. But every so often I would get a comps. Comps is where the publisher will send us complimentary copies of the books, and I would get like hardcovers and oversized editions and trade paperbacks, and I just have a lot. So it's a nice book. It's a nice book to be a part of, and then it's a nice chunk of royalties too. Like every quarter, I would get royalties because of Superman Red Sun based on how many pages I worked on.
Oh, I see.
And then that was nice. That working with Mark Miller on that. Later on, I also got to work on Jupiter Circle. For Image Comics, which made it into a Netflix TV show right now. Jupiter's Legacy, I think it's called. Yeah, so I was able to work with Mark again on that. Actually, I worked with Mark on a lot of other projects in between too. He's a very good writer.
He's a very good writer. Yeah. I loved his work on Secret Service and.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I actually didn't know Secret Service was a comic book. I saw the movie first, and I thought, oh, this is a pretty nice movie. And then I found out it was a comic book.
Yeah, I was and that was Kick-Ass for me.
Oh, so you discovered Kick-Ass as a movie?
I did before I found out it was a comic. And as soon as I read the comic, I was like, this blows the movie right out of the water. Like,
much better. Yeah, so that was my favorite book that I worked on. Probably my favorite character I worked on was Deadpool, because I worked on 2 runs of Deadpool.
Oh, cool.
Earlier, before Deadpool was popular, people were saying that Deadpool was just a knockoff of Spider-Man. Yeah, and then I was just doing a whole run early on. And then later on, when the movie came out, I also worked on another one with penciler Carlo Barberi. Carlo Barberi, he's currently drawing Spawn right now. Yeah, very so cool. He's I did a whole second run with him on Deadpool. So Deadpool is one of my favorite characters to work on.
Deadpool is one of my favorite characters to read, so thank you for working on it.
Oh yeah, thanks. My first DC comic work was for JLA, Justice League of America. So imagine you're getting hired and you're being thrown in to work on a series, and the series consists of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. All the main characters, Green Lantern, The Flash, and all that. And then at the time I thought, working in comics, everyone just works on these characters, but I didn't enjoy the scope of being able to work on all those characters at the same time. It was nice.
That is super cool.
Like later on, I've worked on Batman by itself, or Superman by itself, or Flash by itself, but very rarely do I get to work on all of them. I did work on another run on Justice League Unlimited with, again, Carlo Barberi. The penciler that's working on Spine right now. He's the artist that I've done the most work together. Yeah, we're good friends, and every so often when we can, we get to do projects together. And then he's one of the pencilers that I've inked the most in my whole career.
Wow,
very nice guy. I'm working with him on another project now. It's not announced yet, but he's working on Spawn at the same time as another project. So after that's announced, maybe I can talk about it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's an independent. It's not a Marvel or DC project. It's an independent project. But
so nice it's gonna be good then if it's an independent project.
Yeah, it's not tied down. It's not a creator owned. Carlo didn't create it. Someone else created it. Someone else hired Carlo and hired me to do the work on it.
That is great. This might be a folks tale, but did you work on Red Hood and the Outlaws?
I did work on Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Oh, I worked
on Red Hood and the Outlaws for a good few issues. I also worked on the annual, the Christmas edition annual.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one where they're all kids. Red Hood, Red Robin. No, the Red Arrow.
No,
Red Arrow.
You got Red Arrow, Starfire, and then you got and then you got Red Hood.
Yeah, so the annual had the kitty versions of it. I just recently posted that on my Instagram page where I posted all the bad Santas and they're trying to attack all the little superheroes. Yeah, I did work on Red Hood and Outlaws for the pencil was Julian Gomez, who I was inking over, and it was a good few issues over there. That was fun. But you know, when I worked on Red Hood, I didn't really think that Red Hood was Robin.
Oh yeah,
Found out later.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's what drew me in. I just heard of Red Hood. I didn't really know who Red Hood was until I picked up the comic book. And I read this comic book where he gets resurrected and he just goes through this hotel just, you know, laying people down. And I'm just like, okay, this is a Robin I can get behind.
I thought Red Hood was just another character in the Batman universe. I didn't think it was him. I wasn't following all the DC Comics Batman Robin storyline. So I thought Robin was just another character. Now Red Hood's a pretty cool character right now. It's pretty popular right now.
Oh, he's really popular right now.
Yeah, like Todd McFarlane is making these action figures. I don't know if you've seen them yet. It's these multiverse figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DC, and it's very detailed. And one of the characters is called Red Hood. I haven't even seen it anywhere yet.
I like that Todd McFarlane does those figures, but he does the videos of him like working on stuff too. Like you can see Spawn rip.
He's a very, very good marketing genius.
For sure.
Yeah, like all these other toy companies, they'll have new toys coming out or new products coming out. It just comes out or there's a preview of what's coming out. But McFarlane, he's the guy who created all this, and then he's created the company. He's always online, and he's like presenting the images, and it just creates this buzz around what's coming out. I have a marketing degree, so I kind of understand the marketing aspects of promoting work. And I think he's a genius when it comes to branding himself with the art, branding himself with the toys that he's coming out with, even the movies. Every so often he would talk about the movies and promoting it. He's marketing genius, I think.
Todd McFarlane's like Frank Miller, you know. It's just one of those names that you can just instantly, you know who it is. It's like, Spawn.
I met Todd maybe twice. I don't think he knew who I was. And then I also worked for TMP Productions. That's his company. I worked on Spawn Godslayer. And
cool.
I don't think he knew who I was either. But because I think he's such a large company that there's so much people, artists around there. I don't know if I know who he is. I don't think he knows who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually the case, am I right?
Yeah.
My personal question, I want to know who your favorite superhero or comic book character is.
My favorite superhero is Superman.
Nice.
Superman. Yeah, it's like really Superman. One time I was talking to penciler Mark Barrio, who I was working on GLA with on DC Comics, and I asked him, can you draw me a Superman logo? And he would ask, why do you want me to draw a Superman logo? Because I want a drawing from a professional artist which I can get a tattoo from. So I could use that image to get a tattoo. He actually never drew it, so I never actually got that drawing. So not only that, when I had kids, my first daughter, her name is Chloe. I named her Chloe. So Chloe is this character from Smallville, this TV show Smallville.
I love Smallville, man.
In Smallville, there was this news reporter. Her name was Chloe Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a news reporter. She kind of like Clark Kent. So I named my daughter after Chloe. Now, my daughter's middle name is Kira. Same as Supergirl's real name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if you take both the initials of Chloe Kira, CK, that's the same initials as Clark Kent.
That's so cool.
Yeah, when I picked those names, my wife didn't know it was such a Superman geek kind of thing, but that's how I picked her name. So I'm really Superman is one of my favorite characters. I like, sometimes people ask me, okay, if Superman is your favorite character and you like drawing Deadpool, like which one is it? It's in a way, it's almost like picking your favorite child. There's so many that you like. I mean, I like drawing Batman. I like drawing Spider-Man. There's so many characters. It's hard to pick one. But if I had to pick one, it's a really hard decision, and it would be Superman.
Oh, I mean, at the end of the day, if there was one pick out of all of them, Superman would be the ideal.
Superman is Superman. You know, he leads the whole DC universe.
The most renowned, known,
the most popular character. Yes, that's right.
Exactly. I mean, if it wasn't for Superman, I wouldn't have got into comics either.
That's true.
If it wasn't for the original 1978 Superman with Gene Hackman and Christopher Reeve, I would have never picked it up, man.
Yeah, I seen those Superman movies before I even knew what a comic book was.
Same.
And I remember as a kid, it's not even a comic book, it's this novel size, digest size book. It was a Superman comic that I got. It was a Superman digest size that you can, when you were in kids, you get to order books from these they would send out these newsletters and you would pick out the books you want to order.
Sure.
And then you order it and you would get it like 2 months later. I remember ordering one of those Superman books and it was penciled by Kurt Swan at the time. Yeah, so that was nice. I mean, I never really paid attention to artists as much as I do now after I started working in comics. Before it was just reading comic books, but now after working in comics, I would look at who wrote it, who penciled it, who inked it, who colored it, even who lettered it, just to see the quality of the work.
Oh yeah, of course.
To study it and gain inspiration from it.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's initially, I think that's what most people do, because if you find out the specific details of each person who worked on there, you can find out that they worked on more stuff, and there's just more opportunities to find more stuff.
Yeah, so I would if I discover a new artist, I would find out what else they worked on, and I would try to pick up those books to look at it.
Let's talk about Bleakheaven, man.
Yes.
What was it like working with Stanley on Bleakheaven?
Amazing. Working with Stanley, I mean,
be honest,
I worked with so many. This is completely 100% honest. I worked with so many publishers in the past, and every so often you would get direction. They would say, I want it to be done this way, or you have to fix it, or you have to adjust it. Working with Stanley, he would say, Walden, can you do a cover? Sure. What would you like on it? We will want these characters on it. Okay, is there any specific pose? No, just do what you want. And I just came up with a couple of thumbnails, and then Stan would say, I like this one. And then I just drew it. He goes, oh, that looks good. Oh, after I'm done penciling, I eat it. That looks good. That's what Stanley says. Everything was good. It was like smooth sailing.
Oh, that's
even when he contacted me to do that sponsor video with Scullivan.
Sure.
Because he didn't even pick Scullivan. He said, Walden, pick any character from our library, and then you can draw it, and then we'll just go with it. I just picked Scullivan because he's such a cool-looking character. But, not even only that, I looked at most of the character in the comic books that Stanley sent me. A lot of the characters, it's just fun to draw. It's different, and I think maybe it's because I'm working in superhero comics for so long that I'm so used to drawing it like a specific way. But Scullivan has all these things that just kind of cool, these paddings, these spikes, and then there's also this other character that has it's like a baby doll that transforms into this kind of like this liquidy stuff.
That big monster, yeah.
And then the face just opens up and there's fangs like the Predator.
Yeah,
and that just looks so cool. I don't know how the original concept was when Stanley developed that character, because I saw some of the references. It was just like black globs, but then I decided to draw it as if it was like almost like Spider-Man symbiote, the Venom suit. So there's like liquids coming. I don't know if you've seen that image I drew or not. So I drew that, and then once I drew it, I was thinking, I wonder if Stanley's gonna make me change that, because it's not exactly looking like the reference that Stanley sent me. So I sent it to Stanley. He goes, "This looks great. This looks awesome." So that's one of the great things about working with Stanley, is when an editor or publisher just gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. I just pour so much more into it. Like if Stanley wanted me to color that piece, I would have. Yeah, I penciled it. I inked it. I didn't think I knew how to color, so he just had someone else color it. Yeah, but that was a fun cover to work on. I think that was going to be for a variant cover for issue number 2 of Bleakheaven.
3. I think it's 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see how it turns out when it comes out.
Oh man, I'm aching in anticipation. I've seen the art, and that monster was the appeal for me. If I was a kid, dude, I'd be terrified walking down a hallway.
I would too. That little baby doll just runs up to you. All of a sudden, it's so cute. I want to pick it up and play with it. All of a sudden, it just opens up, and then the arm just extends out with all those little gloopy stuff.
Nope, nightmare material, man.
And then the legs. It has those long legs, and all of a sudden, you see the little doll's legs hanging, dangling over there. It's creepy. It's creepy, but it's cool to draw. It's so much fun to draw.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I love the art on it. I think it's great. What do you think about Josh's work on the character and the monsters designs?
Yeah, It looks pretty good. I mean, I like the coloring. I like the coloring, the concept of the way he drew it. I mean, if you saw the video where I did these drawing of Scullivan, you'll see me referencing a lot of Josh's work. Josh is the penciler who drew it, right?
Yeah, he's the penciler who drew it. Yeah.
I thought Josh was a colorist.
No, not that I'm aware of. I think that was someone else.
So when I was looking at his work, I kept flipping, even up to the point where the way Josh drew the fingers, I was referencing how he drew the fingers.
Very
so a lot of times when I'm drawing stuff and I'm drawing a certain character that I don't know, I reference the heck out of everything. Stanley sent me a PDF file, and then I screen captured every angle of Scullivan just so I can understand how he looks, to a point where I can see that as a real character in my mind, like someone that could just walk in front of me and I can see everything in the back, and then I would start drawing it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So when I'm drawing, I usually like to study everything to a point where it looks like a real human or a real character, and I can see the whole outfit, and then I'll start drawing it. So everything was drawn nicely. Everything was placed in there. All the details was there. There's a little bit of the black areas, like on the stomach area and the legs. I didn't really know what kind of texture details, because there was a lot of blacks and a lot of colors. So I just did the same thing what was penciled originally. I followed the reference.
Oh, I see. I love it. I don't know about what their opinions are, but I certainly love it.
Yeah, I keep telling Stanley that you guys have a nice library of characters.
Yeah. He really, I mean, I've known about Bleakhaven for quite some time now, and I'm still learning about new characters.
Yeah, he has this one character that he showed me. Man, if he asked me to draw that, I would draw it. It's this character with it's a wolf with 3 heads.
The spider wolf. Yes.
Yeah, and then the spider wolf. Yeah, and then someone else. He tells me one of the characters holds him, like he handles the spider wolf. Yeah, when he mentioned that to me, I don't know. See, all the Bleakhaven names are still new to me.
Sure.
Like when he mentioned that to me, I saw an image of that character holding the spider wolf, and then the chains are coming out. Like I see a cover already.
Oh,
so, yeah. Lots of good characters. And man, if those get created into action figures, imagine that. It's gonna be so fun.
Dude, I'm gonna go broke for sure. I
mean, they can do action figures of each one, and then that larger dog character can be the Build-A-Figure, like kind of like Marvel Legends. You have to buy each one here and buy that one here, and you kind of connect it together.
Oh, see, and those are the ones that I personally like getting those ones. I like those. I can't remember if it's the spider wolf or the wolf spider, but it's one of those. And I saw that character, I saw that monster, and I was just like, man, that is so cool. Like, I've never seen art like that. You know?
It's refreshing. Really it's nice and new. I mean, you see comics done so many ways, and it's almost kind of the same. Even horror comics, they're kind of the same. But when you see Bleakhaven, at least when I see it, it's like, oh, these are fresh take. It's drawn differently. It's like this thought process into it.
Oh, definitely.
So you're part of Bleakhaven, right?
I am.
How long has Bleakhaven been around?
The concept came around this past year. Like, we didn't start doing stuff to this past year.
Oh, really?
They've been working on it for quite some time. Yeah,
I thought Bleakhaven's been around for a while, because I see there's a nice website and there's a store for apparel and everything. And you guys have a podcast and Facebook page. I thought you guys been around. So you guys established your presence pretty well with that.
We're hoping so. We really do. I mean, from what I've been told, we got a Kickstarter coming up and stuff. So.
Oh, nice. So is the Kickstarter gonna have new material, or it's gonna have some of the stuff that's already been printed?
It's gonna have both.
Oh, both.
It's gonna have both.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with Bleakhaven, I know it's sounds like a new company. Are you guys planning on expanding more titles? Because right now I know you have that one book, and it's a flip book. Issue 1 and 2 is on the same side. So is issue 2 and 3 gonna be like another flip book, or is it gonna be separate books?
As far as I know, I think 3 is just going to be a separate book. I think the flip book was just the appeal, like the nostalgic feeling of the first book.
Yeah.
You don't see many flip books anymore.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of nice. Yeah.
Speaking of those, what did you think about the art and the story on those?
I read it. I like it. It looks pretty good. I like the colors on it. I don't know who did the colors. It was pretty good. Not only that, I like the quality of the printing too. the paper you guys are using,
Sure.
the stock, I thought that was pretty good.
I mean, I truly dug it. When I saw I'm more of a fan of issue 2 than I am of issue 1. Don't get me wrong, I love issue 1 and Skullivan's great, but I love the second one because I just like the Church of the Morning Star, and I like that the cover really did it for me.
Yeah, I like the story of issue 1 because it had the color tones. I like the color tones of issue 1. It felt more like a Batman kind of tone, like
it did.
That dark, moody scene, and it creates that mood. It's just nice. And issue 2 was more on the brighter side.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, more on the bright side, and then it was still pretty good. Both. See, again, that's like picking your favorite child. Together. I mean, they're both good.
Yeah, no, it is very much like picking your favorite child. I mean, there's so many new characters that I haven't even that I've seen, but I haven't actually like seen how they play into the story. It blows my mind.
Yeah. So Bleakhaven, welcome to Bleakhaven. That's one of the titles, right?
Yeah. So that's the series right now. So it's Welcome to Bleakhaven.
Will there be titles such as Skullivan?
Oh yeah. From what I've been told, they're already working on different titles, different storylines, like different books themselves, which is what the Kickstarter's about. Because we get more money from the Kickstarter, that means we can come out with more comic books.
So were you with Stanley ever since the beginning of the concept of Bleakhaven?
I wasn't. I only showed up about a year ago. I found out about it before it became a big thing.
So what was the inspiration on creating Bleakhaven? How did the process? I'm always interested how like a whole team of artists and writers and publishers, they get together and start a company. I think that's always fascinating to me.
I don't know how the story and everything was created. Like he'd have to tell you, but as far as like company wise and everything went, he already had a team going, and they were nearly finished with the first book by the time I started on. I came up with the idea. I'm like, hey, you have a really cool comic book, but people listen to podcasts all the time. So I was like, why don't we come up with a podcast?
I think that's a good idea. I remember when Stanley first contacted me about Bleakhaven, immediately I started doing research. Even before I even responded back to him that, I'm willing to do the cover. I started doing research to find out. I found a YouTube channel, which there was a couple of videos of us. Someone, I don't know who was drawing. He was drawing there was a couple of people switching roles, drawing one character here and then drawing another character there. And then it was only a couple. And I wanted to see more because it was just interesting. And then when I found out you guys had a podcast, I was like, wow, you guys know what's going on.
Well, seeing that video, that was Josh and Rufus, the guys who worked on the first one. The first and second books. I think Rufus did the second one and Josh did the first one.
Rufus Bostwick, right?
Rufus Mann and Josh Bostwick. Josh is Stanley's brother. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I always read comic books, and I'm always listening to podcasts. I thought, that podcast would be a good way to show
like how comics books are created.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I started out making YouTube videos about tutorials, and then once in a while I'll talk about how I did this or how I did that. And I noticed in some of the comments that people write on my YouTube channel, they'll say, oh, I didn't know you did this. I would like to hear more about it. So I know they're listening more as opposed to watching. And it just comes in nice. Like I have a few people that would tell me, I'm drawing or I'm working at my work, and then I just have your YouTube video playing so I can listen to it as background. So I know people do listen to podcasts. Yeah,
it's a very popular thing right now.
Yeah, it's almost like a radio. You can throw what you're watching. Someone mentioned to me, they asked Walden, "Are you on Discord? Do you know what Discord is?"
Yeah, so Discord is. You see, the way I was introduced to Discord was video gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah,
people join this group on Discord, and you can get on there and talk within a community of other people and talk about projects.
So that's not quite a podcast kind of thing.
No, I guess I've heard rumors that you could record podcasts on there, but it's not really. It's more of like a Facebook group or
talking to people, playing games and stuff.
Pretty much, it's just it's a place where everybody can come together and like talk about a certain subject.
Yeah, Well, it's interesting. I was doing art, and then someone's asking me to do a Discord. Yeah, I really got to get into the podcasting. I gotta learn that soon. I feel like I'm falling behind. I'm just starting to learn TikTok. I'm just starting to learn
Oh God,
TikTok, making all that.
you're farther along than me, man. For sure. I can't do TikTok.
TikTok is just it's just so much more work compared to other social medias where you're just posting a picture.
For
Like
sure.
it's like a mini video clip. I mean, YouTube takes me the longest. That video I did for that sponsor video that I did for Stanley, that 5-minute video,
Yeah.
took about 8-10 hours of work. If you
Oh
can
wow.
believe it. It's not just recording; it's editing and then moving images in and out and
Oh,
doing a lot of fun stuff, and then matching music and all that.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Stanley. He's so patient. Like I like
He
how he's
really
so
is.
patient.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when
No.
he asked me to do it, it took me a little bit, and then all the time he didn't rush me or anything. He would just message me and check, how's it going? Everything okay? You need anything? And I thought that was very. He sounds like a nice person. I don't know him, like aside from me working with him for the few times. Like he really sounds like he really is a calm, patient person.
Oh, he really is. He's a
Yeah.
he's a stand-up guy. So, is there any advice you can give to any inspiring artists?
As to working comics or to
Yeah.
draw. My advice, I mean, I'm sure you hear this advice from everyone, and every artist is going to say this. It's if you want to work in comics or you want to be any kind of artist, you just have to draw every day.
Yeah.
The more you draw, the better you look. Another thing is never compare yourself to others, because if you're comparing yourself with others and you see your work's not as good, it kind of turn you off. But instead, look at other people's work and draw inspiration from it and try to learn from it. Yeah, when I was young, I would go to conventions and talk to other artists, and they would say, "Draw every day, draw every day." Yeah, I do draw every day, but I'm not getting anywhere. But as I got older, I do understand what they're saying. Like the more you practice drawing, the better you get. Not just draw characters, but also draw backgrounds and learn everything about art. Like I have a background in drawing, painting, watercolors, computer art. And if you incorporate all that into your art, you just learn so much more. So when I do digital art, it's the same stuff that I would do traditionally, and I would incorporate what I learned in those mediums to draw something else. And it really is just the more you practice, the better you get. And this is with anything. It's not just with comic book art. If you want to be a fireman, you just practice climbing up that stairs fast, climbing up the ladder faster.
3 years of experience of firefighting, and I
you
can
were
tell
a fighter?
I can tell you firsthand. You just got to jump right in and get to.
You just got to do it. You just got to do it, and then you keep practicing, and then the more you do it, the faster you'll get, the more efficient you'll get.
It's true. It's true. It's repetitive nature. I mean,
it is.
The more you do it, the better it'll be.
Yes. The more you do it, the more it'll become an art form.
Yes.
Yes. And then as an artist, the more you practice it, the more it becomes art. You can be someone that, for example, you can pave concrete. Not everyone can do it well, but if you do it a lot, it becomes an art form and it can look nice.
Very true.
Once in a while, I'll do some construction for friends. Like I'll build walls and stuff, and then after I'm done building it, it looks kind of like yucky. It doesn't look that good because I don't practice it often. But if I did that over and over again, it'll look nice and smooth and flush.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I too have worked in the construction industry. It's just like you say. You just got to put that effort in, and you just got to keep going for it.
Yeah, construction is kind of fun. It's like Tetris.
Yeah,
to me.
It really is.
One of my favorite games is Tetris. I still play with it. For you kids who are listening to this podcast, you don't know what Tetris is. It's these little blocks that you rotate and you try to fit it in nicely so it connects, and then you remove a line.
Oh, no, I've never heard of Tetris. I was a Gallagher kid, so.
Yeah, like I think Tetris. I don't know. It's when I first started playing games. The first video game I played was a Minesweep on a computer.
Oh, nice! I do know what Minesweep is. Actually.
I think they're still on the computer now. I don't play games anymore. That's another thing. Being an artist, I do practice a lot, and I do a lot of. I know there's a lot of kids out there that want to be an artist and they'll play a lot of games. I don't play a lot of games. I mean, the free time I have, I'll learn how to do other stuff. I enjoy that. like for example, like Photoshop is kind of my video game. I'll play with it so often. I'll learn how to draw on it, and to me, that's fun.
Oh yeah.
Before I got married, I used to play a lot of video games, like Halo, the video game.
Nice.
I actually recently got into this new gaming thing, and then it's taking away too much of my time, but it's just so fun. Yeah, Oculus. Have you ever heard of Oculus?
I have VR. Yeah, that's the fun stuff.
I bought Oculus for this one game and one game only, Beat Saber.
Oh, of course.
I can't stop playing that. It's just so much fun.
Wait till you get that Vader game.
People tell me about the Vader game, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's because I heard of Beat Saber and I wanted to play with it for a long time, and I didn't really understand it. I just wanted to see how it works, and then ever since I got it, I just kept playing it almost every day. I think that's why Stanley was very patient doing those videos.
Hey man, he's a gamer himself. If anybody can understand it, Stanley. When it comes to that
but
stuff.
the nice thing about Beat Saber is this independent goggle thing, and then once it runs out of battery, you have to charge it, and it takes a long time to charge it.
Yeah.
So when I play, I can only play an hour at a time, and then I can walk away from it. Unlike those Xbox or PS3, you can play like 5-6 hours on it.
I think the longest I've ever played is like 48 hours straight on it.
Oh, really? Like in one shot?
One shot, yeah.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
It has to be a good game for me to do something like that, man.
Yeah, I used to go to a friend's house at 8 p.m. and we would play until 3 in the morning. And I thought that was a long time. This was when we were playing Halo a lot. We would all set up with our own screen, not a split screen. We would bring our own computers, and all the computers would be connected to each other. And then we would try to like shoot each other. And every so often we would cheat. We would lean over.
We
would lean over to watch, see where they are. And then we would play. And I thought that, 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, that's a good 7 hours, 7 hours. And then I thought that was a long time, because once I got home, the next day I'll be all tired.
Yeah, you're like, I'm so pooped, but that was so much fun. I enjoyed every minute of it.
But it's funny. Like, I can work in comics. I can draw comics. Usually my average work day of drawing comics, I wake up 9 in the morning. I'll keep drawing. I'll take breaks in between, like doing other stuff. And I'll draw until like 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. And then with that, I'll just wake up the next day at 7 or 8, and I'm not tired.
And I don't know. I bet there's just something as soothing as just sitting down and just coloring and
yes. Yeah, I have friends that would sometimes. Actually, my cousins, she would come over to me. Not recently because of COVID, but before, he would come over and visit me, and then he would just sit next to my drawing table, and he would just watch me draw, and we have a conversation. And then every so often, he would just watch me, and then he would say, "Wow, Walden, your job is kind of therapeutic. I can just watch you draw all day." And I looked over and I said, "Yeah, you're right. I do this all day, and I feel calm, and it's just be in my little world, and I'm just working at drawing this. And before I know it, it's already 10 hours gone already. The time just flies by so quick when you're doing artwork.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, time flies when you're having fun.
There's another form of comic book therapy right there.
Yeah. Comic book therapy, and penciling, and inking, and coloring, even lettering. I used to letter comic books back then. There was a publisher called Viz Media. They published Pokemon, Naruto, all those Japanese stuff. And then they had me do some lettering for them. And then I was lettering for a good few years. And then I decided I'd rather be doing comic book art, like to draw the art instead. Because the lettering, it's more with Photoshop and Illustrator. You would just type in all the copy and paste all the letters, and then just do all the typing, which is fun. It's still fun. You get to read the story as you go, but I think creating is more therapeutic. And then when I was lettering, it had the same feeling as if I was playing video games. Like, it just tires me out, like staring at the computer screen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, because not only you're not staring at a computer screen, but you're just entranced into that movement.
The repetitive movement of doing the same thing over. But it's interesting that you say that, because when I do comics, when I'm drawing, in a way, it's kind of doing the same thing. But when we're drawing or when we're inking or coloring, every drawing or image that we do feels like it's something new. Yeah. Like, for example, every time I get a new project, I'm always excited. Instead of Superman, it's Scullivan. Instead of Scullivan, it's whatever. Like, I'm always excited because it's something new. But the task is still the same, but to me, it feels like something fresh.
I can imagine as an artist, like doing something more fresh just feels better than doing the same thing over and over
Yeah,
and over
yeah.
again.
I used to work at a bank, at Wells Fargo Bank, and I would be doing the same thing over and over again. And I remember those days just dragged. It just dragged. I would continuously look at the clock to see when it's 5 o'clock, when we can lock up and get ready to go.
Yeah.
But as an artist now, when I'm working at home, I very rarely do I need to look at the clock unless there's a deadline. Like if there's, I remember back then, now it's much easier where I can scan my artwork and I could upload it to the publishers. Back then, I have to rush and meet the FedEx deadline. I have to keep track of when FedEx office closed, when is the last drop-off time, and also how long it takes me to leave from my house to drive to the station to meet that drop-off time. So back then, I would like keep track of the hours just to make sure I get stuff in on time, and that happened a lot. But with the new internet these days and file servers and uploading and emailing, I don't really have to look at clock that much. I just look at dates.
Kind of makes things a little bit easier.
It makes things a lot easier. Most people know that I'm a comic book inker. I would get pencils from the penciler or the publisher. So, for example, if a pencil is drawing something, and once they're done drawing it, I can get that image within 5 minutes of when they're done drawing it. They'll just scan it and email it to me. Back then, when it was pages were sent through FedEx or Airborne or post office, it would take days. It would take like a priority mail next day or 2 days later, or if it had to go through customs through international, it would get stuck in customs, and I had to wait a week. And then when I'm waiting for those pages, and it's pages that I don't have, and I'm waiting for it to be shipped to me, it's time that I'm getting lost. Publishers will say, "Okay, your part of the inking is due at the end of the month." The penciler sends me the book at the middle of the month, and it's stuck in customs, and it's stuck for a week. I'll get it a week before it's due, so I don't have that much time to work on it.
Man, that's a lot to do within a week.
Yeah, and then being an artist, you just do it, and then that's when I got accustomed to working until late into the night at 2 a.m. in the morning, just because you have to finish the deadline. And then usually I try not to. I'll try not to like put it off and wait till the next day after sleeping. I try to finish all the work before it's due the next day, because you never know that you might sleep longer or you can't hear the alarm or something. You try to finish your work before. Much more relaxing, easier now with internet and uploading and downloading and file sharing.
I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Even technology, not even just internet technology, is such an amazing thing. Before COVID, I was editing my YouTube videos with this Windows Movie Maker, and it was just so limited. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do what I want. So when COVID started, and I wasn't really going out to teach as often, because I'm also a teacher. I teach at the Academy of Art. I teach at local schools and a lot of different places. So all of that stopped, and I decided to just learn how to use a computer software to learn how to edit videos better. And then just being able to learn that technology and applying it is just having technology these days is so much easier. Technology, internet, email, everything. We just like how me and you were doing a podcast. We couldn't do that over the phone. We couldn't meet up at the same time.
No, exactly.
This is something that we can do these days that we couldn't do back then.
I always think to myself how crazy it's going to be within the next 20 years. Who knows what's going to happen next,
I tell friends that, instead of having a cell phone, you're probably going to just tap your wrist and it's something just like in Star Trek or some futuristic videos. You tap your wrist and all of a sudden an image pops up and then you can just go like that.
Yeah, exactly. We're all just going to be like Tony Stark, and it's just going to be AI.
Yeah. Or there's like some kind of a chip implanted in your head, and then you can do everything in your head. You don't even need to like press the button. Just think of it, and it will just happen.
It'll just happen.
It's like right now, I have this Google Mini. I don't even need to turn on the radio. I just say, "Hey Google, play this or play that." Or if I'm driving, if I need to direction, I'll just say, "Hey Siri, get me to here." And then it would just give me the directions.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to pulling up a map and like trying to,
I know.
I hate that stuff.
I remember when I was younger and before cell phones, we would have to like do a vacation and we would travel to like Disneyland or something, and we didn't really know all the freeways, which intersection to take. So we would Google that up, and then we would print like 4 or 5 sheets, and then we would follow exit here. You're gonna have 5 miles left, and we would count the speedometer to make sure that we won't miss it. These days it's so much easier because if we missed it back then, you're lost.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know how to. You don't have a cell phone or a computer to find your place.
Nope. You just got people to ask, and then you end up in the shady parts of town. You know,
That's right.
Just like National Lampoon's Vacation and stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And it is, and then being the proud driver that you're afraid. You don't want to stop and ask questions. You just try to pretend that you know where you're going.
Exactly. And you just get yourself more lost.
I know.
Oh yeah, I've been there, man.
Yeah.
Too many days. And the problem with that is that I had Google the entire time. I just never did it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, technology these days is amazing. Like a lot of artists, they'll use Photoshop or iPad to draw their comic book artwork, and then they just use that and just turn it in. It's just so nice. Everything is just so easy. Like when I hear kids these days, they're saying, "Man, this is so hard." It's not hard. It's everything. It's right in front of you. Do you guys? I don't know. I mean, I may be dating myself. Do you know what an encyclopedia is?
No, I've never heard of an encyclopedia.
You're playing with me, right?
Yeah, I'm totally playing with you.
Yeah, like back then we had to look up the encyclopedia to find information. Now you just type it in on Google and you'll find it.
Yeah, now it's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's right. Wikipedia.
Yeah, we swapped the cycles out. We got rid of the encyclopedia and brought in the Wikipedia. So now we take everything on the Wikipedia to heart.
Yeah, encyclopedia. I hated the encyclopedia. I hated it.
No person likes to just open up a book that sizable for meaningless information.
I know. It's just not only that, you open up volume 2 and it says refer to volume 5, refer to volume 26. You're just jumping back and forth.
Exactly.
I started the encyclopedia right when it was just starting to phase out. So I'm pretty glad I didn't have to refer to that a lot.
I feel that. I feel that for sure. I only had to deal with that partially through my younger childhood. And then like, the internet blew up. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, internet, you can just find out so much information, but sometimes you just have to be careful. You're looking for some information, all of a sudden, oh, look, there's something about toys over there. and then your direction just changes and it goes to another direction.
Oh, that's how they get you, man. They see the most popular thing that you're looking at, and then they give you 5 different things, and it's like, all right. The next thing you know, you're pulling out your credit card, and you're like, this wasn't what I was supposed to happen.
And then you're looking at other information and finding other stuff, and then by the end of the session, you're thinking, what was I here for? I don't even remember what I was here looking for.
See, and that I had to delete eBay off my phone because it got to be so bad. I just started buying too much stuff off eBay.
Yeah, like I remember when I started working in comics, I was also collecting toys and stuff at the same time. And then I used to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and I would go to portfolio reviews to try to get my art reviewed and get work. And at the same time, I was going to different retailers to buy exclusive stuff. So that was kind of hard when I first started doing that, because I was standing in line to buy Transformers, and then I was standing in line to get my portfolio review. By the time I'm done with 2 lines, that's the whole day already. So in the early in my career, when I was doing the portfolio review stuff, I just had to like stop buying toys completely. And then I didn't collect stuff. Not only that, I would stop getting autographs too. Like, can you imagine standing in line to get this artist's autograph or this writer's autograph? And then when you're done, you would go to the portfolio review line, and then you would stand in line again. So when I started becoming a comic book artist, I just had to focus on one thing and just go to the portfolio reviews for all of the time that I'm in San Diego. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
It's being more focused just to target yourself to what you want to do. Yeah, I remember the days of collecting toys and collecting autographs and trying to get work. It just didn't work out. Carrying have you ever seen those Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con backpacks that's like this huge bag?
I haven't.
Like a huge
I haven't
backpack.
made it to that one yet.
Yeah.
I've only been to the one out here, the FanX Comic Con
The Fan
out
X,
here.
that's a good one too. That's a good
Yeah.
convention, right? It's a good size one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was good enough to have a legal feud with San Diego's Comic Con, I guess.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah, I wasn't. I won't get down that tangent because who knows what happened there. But
Yeah, San Diego
yeah.
Comic Con, they would give out these, as an attendee, they would give out these huge bags that's almost bigger than the size of the backpack. You can wear it on your shoulder.
Oh
And that's to
wow.
kind of have you buy more stuff at the convention. So when I was carrying those bags around, it's these huge bags about the size of like Santa Claus's Christmas bag. And I
Sure.
would like hold my portfolio, and it was just so clunky carrying all that stuff around. It was just like, it wasn't effective.
Oh no, not at all. I mean that's always my dilemma when I come into a con, man. I'm always like I end up buying way too much stuff, and $400 later, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I can't carry all this out of here, so I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
recruit like 3 strangers to come give me a hand.
Or
at
or
that
or you
one
try to
time.
like go back to the hotel and put all your stuff away, or go home, put all your stuff, and you come back.
Exactly.
Those are fun days.
Just before we let you go, my last question for you is, what are you the most excited for in the future of Bleakhaven?
We touched on this a little bit earlier. I was
Little bit.
finding out if Bleakhaven, Welcome to Bleakhaven, was going to branch out into a lot of individual titles, kind of like how X-Men has Wolverine, or like Avengers has Iron Man and it has Thor. So
Sure.
I see Bleakhaven, like a whole cast of characters, branching out into individual titles, and then those titles becoming popular. Like right now, I don't think there's a market for the characters that Bleakhaven has, and then that genre isn't as big. So I
Yeah.
think there's a big space territory to cover.
Oh, there's
Yeah, and
so
then
much
if
territory.
Bleakhaven does well, I mean, can you imagine them hiring all these other artists to work on the books?
I would be more than ecstatic to read those books.
Yeah, not even just reading it, is working with the talent that's there, and then seeing how they draw their interpretations of the characters that Stanley created. Yeah, so when I was drawing those few pieces for Stanley, I was thinking I'm going to give my interpretations of the character, and then see how Stanley likes it. And then he was okay with it. Yeah, and it was just so much fun. Yeah, and I think Stanley has a good head on his shoulders, where he's letting creators do whatever they want, and that's where the art just shows better. It just rises better.
It truly does. It truly does, and I think that's really what's made comics so great today. It's not just one person's view on the comic. There are multiple people who have multiple different versions of the same character that you've loved, and I honestly can't wait to see those different characters.
Yeah, it's like right now Marvel, they have so many different artists versions of Wolverine, or Batman. There's so many different versions.
Yeah.
So Bleakhaven, they have their first version, and then can you imagine all these other versions that you can come out later with different artists?
Right, Skull a Woman.
A Skull Woman, yes, I can imagine, or a Skullmobile.
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
Yeah.
That's definitely what I could see. I'm so excited. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. But we should mention there's another person in Bleakhaven, Cassandra. Because I know that when I was working with Stanley, her name popped up in emails and invoicing, and even now as I'm doing the podcast, I see her name on it.
Yeah, no, that's
like a business partner.
That's his wife, and she also helps create Bleakhaven. From what
so I think that is very cool, where there's like a family involved.
Yeah.
Instead of just the husband, or instead of just the wife, they're both into it, and I think that's what makes it grow. I think that's what's going to make a company grow.
Just talking to them like face to face, you can tell they're just in sync. Like they love this project, and it's crazy because I've never met a couple who have been so passionate about one project before.
Yeah, and I think they can feed off each other when they're creating stuff, or when they're developing ideas and stuff. Like if one is thinking of this, the other one can just build up on it, as opposed to like coworker you have to call. You're constantly together, and you have kind of the same wavelengths of creating ideas. I think it's just so awesome. I don't think I spoke to Cassandra at all, but I've gotten a lot of emails from Cassandra, but then I think it's Stanley that's writing. But then I think that's a nice dynamic that they have. I wanted to mention Cassandra on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
so people know
Shout
that
out.
she's around.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've had her on the podcast 2
Oh, good.
times already.
Good.
And yeah, she's developing a new series called Marks and the Kingsman, and it's supposed to be like a Hitman oriented comic book within the Bleakhaven universe.
Oh, cool. Now the Bleakhaven's podcast, for those of us that don't know where to find it, because I don't know where to find it.
It's on Spotify. It's on anywhere you listen to podcasts. I imagine it'll be on there.
So we just type in Bleakhaven and we'll find it.
Yeah, if you type in Bleakhaven or Welcome to Bleakhaven, it'll say Welcome to Bleakhaven, hosted by me, the Birdman. You can find it on there, and if
it's just that easy.
Yeah, it truly is. Like you can just Google it on the internet, and like the first thing will pop up. It's like Spotify. Oh, okay, easy click.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
I don't know if you truly get into more podcasts. I have 2 other podcasts. I do the Critter Community podcast, and I do the Birdman and Rooster Show podcast.
The Birdman Industry. What's it called? The Birdman.
The Birdman and Rooster Show.
Okay, what can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so the Birdman and Rooster Show is where me and my brother get together and we talk about comic books and stuff that really resonated for us as kids. We give reviews out on stuff. We mostly talk about stuff.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that you're pretty good with podcasts, especially when you have a name like Birdman.
Yeah. Well, Birdman. It initially started as a family thing. Little kid, 5 years old. I went to an aviary. And
aviary, I don't know what that is.
So it's basically like a zoo, but with birds, just birds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So I loved birds when I was a little kid. I was fascinated with birds until I went to the aviary. The kids, I think some kid behind me put like crumbs or something in the back of my jacket, and like birds legitimately started like dive bombing me.
Oh yeah.
Just to get to that food, and ever since then, like. My mom, being the person that she is, she's like, so Bird, what up, Bird? and that's how the name originated, and then my brother came up with the name Birdman.
I used to have a art teacher in high school, and then every time she get upset, she would just call us Bird. You bird.
You bird.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant. I don't know if that's like she's. I don't know if that meant, but she would just always call us Bird.
And I figured, if you can't get rid of the nickname, you might as well embrace it. So I just went with it.
Yes, I think it works out pretty well. I like the history and story behind Birdman.
That's great because most people are just like that. That's just crazy how you got that nickname. Well, I won't take up too much of your time. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Is there anything else that you might want to plug in before we leave?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. It's Walden Wong Art. That's it. Actually, all my social media is Walden Wong Art. So if you did a search on Walden Wong Art, you can pretty much find that. Even my website is waldenwongart.com.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
And then thank you for having me on the podcast. That was really fun to talk to you.
Oh yeah, same here, man. I hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, Bleakhaven. I can't wait to see Bleakhaven bloom. I think it's going to be a really, really good company.
Oh, yeah. Me too, man. I hope so. I definitely hope so. Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Wong. We'll catch you later.
Great. Thank you.